Okay, buying a property when you're on the high of a holiday, is it a good idea? We're going to talk about some facts, some real life working examples, whether you should buy when you're on holiday. Stay tuned.
Good morning.
It's happy days at the moment, Billy Bob. People are away, they're traveling, they're going to places they've never been before, they're falling in love, the family's healthy and happy. They want to buy something. Let's talk about it. How are you?
Yeah, I just realised to mix up the numbers. It's supposed to be 975, a landmark. 25 closer to 1,000.
Episode 975. That's
It's
almost 1,000. What do you talk about in 1,000 episodes?
it's true. One of them could be buying a property on a holiday. As you said, everyone's feeling good. I think everyone really needed that Easter long weekend. It was a good break. Good morning, Jeff. Morning, Luke. But yeah, as emotions are high, people feel good. They want a little piece of their holiday to take away, and want to buy a property.
And you know what? It's you can understand it. You know, you're with your family. You're pretty happy. Everyone's together. You're in a place that's really exciting. More often than not, if you've gone out of Sydney, and you're thinking, man, we could make this happiness permanent. We could make this happiness permanent. All we have to do is purchase this property, and it makes this happiness permanent. And a couple of things we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about the emotional side of it. We're going to talk about the dollars and cents side of it. We're going to talk about the practical side of it. There's so many facets to it. If anyone's got any questions, it's a live show. Just throw them at us.
Yeah, that's it. I had a quick look on Google, and one reporter said that it was a little bit dated. In 2021 to 2022, there were 248,000 international visitors to the Northern Beaches throughout the year. So I'd hate to see what that looks like post-pandemic. Everyone's up and running, international flights everywhere. I imagine at least one of those people would buy a property.
Yeah, look, and I think there's the international side of it, like people coming to a city in the world and saying, okay, I want to buy it. There's that domestic side of it where we travel around to, you may go to the Hunter Valley and go, geez, I'd like to buy something here. The world's definitely changed because remote work is now available to most industries that can do it. And you're sort of thinking, you know what? I like. We spent a bit of time in Newcastle over the last night, yesterday, as a family. We spent a bit of time in going up towards Coffs Harbour, and you think to yourself, like, people would be on a trip. They're going, you know what? I can earn the same amount of money because I can keep my job. I can do remote work, or earn similar money if I do my job here. You say if you're a sparky, you're a builder or something, there's plenty of work around. Yeah. So what are the dollars and cents like on it though, in terms of returns? Because I was driving through Newcastle, had a meal in Newcastle last night, and I had a real estate tour by a friend of mine, Gavin Reynolds, about 4 years ago, prior to COVID, maybe 5, and he was showing them the best of the Newcastle property market. And yep. Boy, oh boy, Lisa and I were saying, like, what a time to get in. Population of 169,000 people. What a great time to get in back then. How would you know?
Did he take you around on a secret wine tour and sell you property?
No, he took me. He took me to, like, the basically just to explain how Newcastle sort of worked with property, where the sort of more premium end is, where the sort of practical, the convenient end is. where the developing and stuff is. I like talking about it because it's a good model of a town that sort of has exploded.
Yeah.
And then one thing I wanted to talk today with people about is, and because I did go on to ChatGPT and ask ChatGPT this morning what it thought about buying while on holiday, and ChatGPT told me to speak to a licensed real estate agent or a financial advisor, and I was like, yeah, we should be talking about this.
It's true. It's a big decision to make. Yeah, with that one. Lisa said Newcastle is up and coming. Pretty cool. Lots of developments going on. I love it up there. How do you know though when it's a good time? It's very, very hard to pick it if you're out of area.
It really, really is, and I think that these regional parts of Sydney, these regional parts of Australia, and also out of, like, we're obviously very pro. We are going to be biased today, guys and girls, towards Sydney. We are real estate agents in Sydney, but we do want to talk about and explore all the options. I do really have to say you've got to know 1,000. I believe when you're going to, most people are going to buy maybe one, 2 or 3 times they're going to do a property transaction in their life. You probably buy a 1 better, then you sell that, and you probably buy a 2 better, sell that, and you probably buy a house, and you're done. I do have to say, one thing I really firmly believe about whatever you're going to do with property is you've got to know 1,000 things about the suburb. Hugely, like those learnings on a suburb, people take for granted when they're born and bred in a suburb as to what they know about their home turf, their home soil, the good, the bad, the ugly. When you are buying out of that area and you do not know 1,000 things, I do really think you've got to spend a hell of a lot of time and even years researching before you're investing $250,000, $500,000, $750,000.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, as agents in our core area, we even know some buildings, okay, maybe stay away from that one just temporarily, going through a bit of work. So it's down to that level of detail that we're advising or looking out.
You got to be
certain things.
So I think 1, you got to know 1,000 things about the suburb. I think 2, distance, you got to be wary and careful for maintenance. I've always bought properties under my nose in the same in the area that I know and love. I have had my mother-in-law buy something in an area. What was it called again? Near Byron Bay, not Nimbin, and where it went wrong was, I said 1,000 things about, on 2 counts, where it said 1,000 things about a suburb. Well, it was prone to flooding, and the place in the floods unfortunately went under a little bit. And 2, doing a small job like a kitchen or bathroom can potentially explode when you're not close. So when it's under your nose and you can go, okay, well, I know the real estate agent to use, not to use. I know the trades to use and not to use. It's easier. When it was remote, the thing almost froze over because of distance. So you'd sort of like to think that you can get in a couple of weeks, you can get in and out of a bathroom reno. But something like that, if you add distance to it, can take a couple of months. You're burning rent. And also, if you haven't got a recommended tradie or someone that because you sort of know everyone in your area, but you don't know everyone out of your area, it can cost a lot more as well. So I think be careful about the distance.
Well, that's a good point. Something else though, and if you're happy to talk about it, you said you actually purchased similar to going on a holiday, but it was like an unemotional purchase, a set and forget. So it's got to depend on what you're buying.
I think for me also, a way I actually wrote it off. So when I purchased it, I was like, proportionately in my life to our investments, this one can go bad. And after doing sort of 30 years of property investing, I thought I'm going to roll the dice. So it wasn't it wasn't half of my wealth or a third of my wealth. It was a very small fraction. So I sort of rolled the dice a little bit, and then it had a development upshot with DA approval. So I was like, well, if the capital growth side of it actually doesn't work at all, I'll actually be happy just with the rental side of it. And that rental side, if it does that rental side of it for the next 20, 30 years, well, that's okay as well.
Well, there you go. So even as an agent, you look out for these things, but even if you're totally new to the area, and a good agent would be able to advise on a property or an investment that would be able to give you that. So just have a chat. I do enjoy looking through the window of a foreign office when I'm in a new area, just seeing what's on there.
Yeah, it's pretty exciting. I think, when you go past and you see, I had a client of mine, Sonny, send me a property in yesterday. They fell in love with, great story. They were going up to buy this property, and it was just over $2 million. And I looked at this house, and I was like, when you sent me the photo, it was the Colosseum. This thing was the biggest thing I've ever seen built on the north coast. It was huge, and I was like, dude, that is huge. So they jumped in the car. They were going to buy the property. They were going to move out of Sydney, he was telling me. And they got there, and it was what the photos looked like to how the house presented was like. It needed an extra $1 million spent on it, even though it looked unbelievable. Morning, Graham.
He said, is it Lisbon?
Yeah, north. Yeah, I think that flooding thing you really got to watch out for, guys. Even my what I bought was affected as well. So just do some research around it, because you can fall in love with a lake or an ocean or something, and yeah, you're in a bit of bother if it floods.
But yeah, sorry.
So anyway, he bought this place in. I'll tell you the suburb. I'm not going to tell you the property, but I don't want to. Mini Water.
Sounds like
amazing. Oh, happy place. It was sort of north of Coffs, about half an hour. And anyway, we had a look on it. On the market, 1,600 days.
Yeah, that alarm bells.
1,600 days on the market and not sold. So I do take for granted sometimes what's around me, and I assume that that's going to be the same somewhere else. I.e., if I want to dispose of a property in DY, I know that it's going to be done within 15 to 30 days. There would be no chance in hell that I would think that there's a beautiful home that I was going to be selling was not going to be able to be sold. So, some of those assumptions that you make with what where you are with property, you will ramp those straight over to what you're going to purchase and assume that that's how it's going to work. That's the issue I have with buying property on a holiday.
It's a very interesting topic. I'm a little bit either side. I can see how it happens, and I can certainly see how you need to do your research first.
I think a sound advice would be make sure it's not a honeymoon. Make sure it's the real deal, and time will do that. So I think if you can effectively say this is where I want to live the rest of my life, as an example, and then go up there again and again and again and again, and learn 1,000 things about that area, Good idea. Best advice I can give people today. What is it? Have a guess, Billy Bob.
Is it about? It's about this topic.
Yep.
I've got no idea. I thought you were going to come up with something weird for a second. Tell us.
Rent it before you buy it.
That's good advice. It's very good advice.
In conclusion from today, guys and girls, before you pay your stamp duty, before you pay your $250,000 or $500,000, whatever you're going to buy, I don't think you can buy anything for $250,000 in regional anymore. But before you do that, rent it in that area. If you can't rent that property, rent in that area and learn 1,000 things about that suburb before you put your money where your mouth is. Try before you buy.
Yeah. I was actually I was trying to sell a property in DUI to someone a few weeks ago, and they were saying, we love it, but we want to rent something first. They're coming in from West Pennant Hills for their retirement. It's like, that is clever.
It's a pain in the bum. It's not as convenient, but I can guarantee you that's the best piece of advice I can give anyone today on buying while they're on holidays.
That's the show. It's a good little nugget to leave on.
You take care, everyone. Have a great day. Short week. Let's go get them.
You.
See you, Billy.